What if I told you that the most dangerous secrets aren't hidden in dark alleys or locked vaults, but inside the safest looking homes, on the quietest streets, behind perfectly ordinary smiles? Because tonight's story isn't about criminals who looked suspicious or families that raised alarms. It's about a normal family, the kind you would wave at while driving past, the kind whose kids played in the yard and whose lights turned off at a reasonable hour, and how they hid a secret so disturbing that when the truth finally came out, an entire country stopped and asked the same chilling question: how did nobody see this coming? The house sat on a tree-lined street where nothing ever really happened. Neighbors described it as peaceful, predictable, even boring. The kind of place where weekends meant lawn mowing and evening walks, where doors were rarely locked and everyone knew each other's routines. The family living there had been part of the neighborhood for years. A working father, a caring mother, polite children. Nothing flashy, nothing extreme. Just normal. And that's exactly why no one ever looked twice. The father woke up every morning at the same time. He drove to work, came home on schedule, paid his bills, attended school events, fixed things around the house. People trusted him. The mother volunteered, exchanged recipes, smiled easily, and always asked how others were doing. The children went to school, complained about homework, dreamed about the future. If you passed them at the grocery store, you wouldn't remember them an hour later. And yet, behind that normalcy, something unthinkable was slowly unfolding. It didn't start with violence. It didn't start with screaming or chaos. It started with silence. The kind of silence that feels harmless at first. Small things went unnoticed. A door that stayed closed a little too often. A room no one ever entered. A family rule that didn't quite make sense, but was never questioned. Have you ever ignored something because it was easier than asking questions? Because questioning normality feels uncomfortable. That's what happened here. Years passed. Birthdays were celebrated. Holidays came and went. Photos were taken, posted, framed. Smiles froze moments in time that would later feel unbearable to look at. The family aged, routines solidified, and whatever secret they were guarding became part of the house itself, woven into its walls, its rules, its daily rhythm. And the scariest part, the secret didn't feel shocking to them anymore. It felt normal. Inside the home, control was subtle but absolute. Words were chosen carefully. Questions were discouraged without ever being forbidden. Fear didn't arrive as terror, it arrived as discomfort. The kind you can explain away. The kind you tell yourself is temporary. The kind that grows slowly enough that you don't realize how deep you lay already until turning back feels impossible. And so life continued. From the outside, nothing changed. But inside, something was rotting. The secret demanded maintenance. It required lies layered on top of lies. It required routines that couldn't be broken, stories that couldn't be contradicted, behavior that had to stay consistent. Every normal interaction became a performance. Every smile was rehearsed. Every visitor was a risk. Can you imagine living like that? Pretending every single day, knowing that one mistake could destroy everything? The first crack didn't come from inside the family. It came from chance. A missed appointment. A document that didn't line up. A person who noticed something small and refused to ignore it. It wasn't a dramatic moment. No alarms. No sirens. Just a quiet question that didn't get a satisfying answer. And once that question existed, it couldn't be erased. Authorities became involved slowly, cautiously. They didn't expect anything major. At first, it felt procedural. Routine checks, conversations, polite inquiries. The family cooperated. They always had. They knew how to appear calm. They knew what to say. And for a while, it worked. until it didn't. Because secrets have weight, and the longer you carry them, the heavier they become. Small inconsistencies started to surface. Timelines didn't quite match. Stories shifted just enough to be noticeable. One lie contradicted another. And suddenly, the house that had never attracted attention became a focal point. People started whispering. Neighbors noticed unfamiliar cars parked nearby. The calm street felt different. When investigators finally pushed harder, they weren't prepared for what they would uncover. Not because the evidence was obvious, but because it was hidden in plain sight. A room altered for a purpose no one imagined. Records that shouldn't exist. Behavior that, once understood, was impossible to forget. The realization didn't hit all at once. It came piece by piece, each discovery worse than the last. And then the truth surfaced. Not all at once, but enough. Enough to confirm that this wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't a mistake. This was intentional. This had been happening for years. The normal family wasn't just hiding a secret. They were protecting it actively, deliberately. And when that truth reached the public, disbelief spread faster than facts. People asked how this could happen in a modern country, in a safe neighborhood, under the watch of schools, doctors, neighbors, and systems designed to protect. News outlets ran the story nonstop. Experts weighed in. Comment sections exploded with anger, confusion, and guilt. Because once you know, you start looking back at your own life differently. At the houses you pass, the people you trust, the signs you might be missing. The family's image collapsed overnight. Smiling photos turned into evidence. Home videos became unsettling. Ordinary moments were reinterpreted through a darker lens. Every interaction was questioned. Every decision re-examined. And the most painful part was realizing how effective normality can be as camouflage. Court proceedings revealed the full extent of what had been hidden. Testimonies were difficult to hear. Details were released carefully. But even limited information was enough to shock-harden professionals. The emotional damage ran deeper than the physical facts. This wasn't just about what happened, but about how it was allowed to continue for so long. Victims spoke about confusion, about believing this was just how life worked, about not realizing they were trapped until the world outside finally intervened. And that raises an uncomfortable question. How many people are living inside situations they don't yet have words for? How many secrets survive simply because they wear the mask of normal life? The country didn't just react with outrage. It reacted with introspection. Laws were questioned. Systems were reviewed. Training programs changed. Communities were urged to pay closer attention. Not to panic, but to notice. To ask gentle questions. To trust discomfort. Because evil rarely announces itself loudly. More often, it whispers. In the end, the house was no longer just a house. It became a symbol. A reminder that appearances mean nothing without awareness. That safety isn't guaranteed by familiarity. That monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like neighbors. And maybe the most haunting part of this story isn't what the family did, but how easily the world accepted what it saw on the surface. Because if it could happen there, it could happen anywhere. On any quiet street. Behind any closed door. The real question is, now that we know, will we be brave enough to look closer? Or will we keep trusting the comfort of normal, hoping that nothing like this could ever be happening right next door?